Hi, this is for Mandarin Kim, and this is hopefully a short video just discussing some thoughts I've had today about gender and the reality of transgender people. I want to start by saying that it's hard not to at times feel some kind of pressure to conform to the categories that other people use when talking about and defining gender. And I think maybe at times I have been guilty of trying too hard to fit into a particular concept of gender, possibly for the right reasons, as will become clear. But anyway, so I think it's important sometimes to return to what are my actual true and authentic feelings about gender, never mind how other people talk about it and refer to it. So I want to start by saying that it has never been important to me to affirm specifically that I am a man. With regards to all the, I like wearing nail varnish, makeup, jewellery, whatever, I've never felt it that important to affirm that even though I do this, I'm still a man. I've never felt that attached to the category of man. Never felt I need to justify or defend that, it's okay for someone who's male to do this. I mean, well, I do feel it's important to justify that, but I've never felt a particular attachment to the label man. On the other hand, though, I don't really feel it's that important to reach for this category of woman either, and to defend and justify that. It is true that I do feel I'm on a wavelength with certain women, and even men that are similar to myself, I don't ever feel fully like I'm on a wavelength with them, whereas there are women I do feel like I'm on a wavelength with. It is true that I enjoy the company of women, generally speaking, more than the company of men. That's not a judgment on men, it's just what I found in terms of who I gravitate towards wanting to talk to and spend time with. For whatever reason, that's the way that is. And there's a lot of qualities that society associates with women, and which I do find exhibited by many women, that I do feel are worth aspiring towards. They're lovely qualities for a person to have, but I've never felt particularly any attachment to these labels of man or woman, and even I don't feel particular attachment to the idea of defending, of asserting that I'm not a man or a woman, that I'm non-binary or genderqueer or whatever. They seem like, given my feelings that I'm not particularly attached to the labels of man or woman, they seem the most accurate within a certain paradigm, but I don't feel personally particularly attached. I don't care really whether you view it as a man, a woman, something else in between. It doesn't bother me one way or another. I'm not that attached to the idea of these categories and these labels in the first place. That's the reality of how I feel about gender. I'm a human being. I don't care. I was born male. I have aspects of womanliness and femininity that appeal to me. I don't feel like a man or a woman, but somewhere in between. But I don't really feel a huge attachment to the label. I don't feel a need to affirm or assert myself as a man, or affirm or assert myself as a woman, or even affirm and assert myself as neither. It's not that big a deal for me. That's one reality of how I am about gender. The other reality is that I enjoy certain things. I enjoy wearing nail varnish. Although I'm struggling to get the right kind of look right with face makeup, I do enjoy wearing lipstick and face makeup. I do enjoy wearing bangles and necklaces. I enjoy wearing women's t-shirts as much as men's t-shirts, and I enjoy wearing women's boots probably more than men's boots. And I've also found that I feel comfortable and happy wearing women's knickers rather than men's underpants, and in getting rid of my body hair, either shaving or using feet to remove my body hair, feels happier and comfortable for me. And I find that when I don't do any of these things, I do over time feel more and more miserable and less comfortable and happy. So that's a reality as well about myself with regards to gender. And the thing about this reality is that it means that if you choose, as some people seem to want to assert all the time, they want to define man and woman in terms of the physical only. Whether you're physically male or female, that's whether you're a man or a woman. The problem with defining man and woman purely in that way, and that's quite restrictive way really, is that it means everything else about gender is nonsense. It means that gender is a lie, and that we need to throw the rest of it out. Precisely because there are exceptions, like me, who are not particularly attached to the idea of themselves as a man or a woman, and who want to express themselves in ways that would conventionally be viewed feminine. The very existence of people that fall outside of our idea of what a man or a woman is means that if you define it purely in terms of the male, of whether you're male or female, whether you're physically male or physically female, that you need to throw the rest of it out because it's garbage. It doesn't necessarily have any connection with your physical sex or all the rest of it. So gender's a lie, and we need to throw it all out. That is the consequence of having that view. So be aware of that. And here I want to bring other people into it now. I'm aware that although I personally don't feel this way, that there are people who feel about their bodies in exactly the way I do about my appearance, that they cannot feel comfortable and happy unless they alter their bodies through hormones or through surgery. That's their reality. They exist as well. And I am also aware that there are other people who are attached to the idea of themselves as a man or a woman. Those things matter. They do feel they need to assert, I am a man. Whether whether they are expressing in a conventionally masculine way or not, and whether they are physically male or not. There are those who wish to assert that despite all that I am a man, or because of that I am a man, and it's important that they assert that and emphasize that for their own personal well-being, and that there are other people who feel it important to assert that they are a woman, whether they express conventionally femininely or not, and whether they are physically female or not. They want to assert and emphasize that they are a woman, that's how they identify. So those people exist as well. So also, if you choose to define gender purely in terms of physical, whether you're physically male or physically female, you also have to include those people into that picture. And so it makes classifying gender purely in terms of the physical a little bit redundant, a little bit of a useless categorization, because it's only the mere fact of whether you're physically male or female, a mere biological curiosity, if you like, because once everything else is varied and can be all over the map, that is a mere biological curiosity. It's the mere fact. I mean, it's very important in terms of reproduction, of course, but it's a very restrictive way of looking at gender. And if you define it purely in the physical, then you need to throw everything else about gender out. In fact, you probably need to do away with gender altogether. So, which I don't have a problem with, but I think most people who define gender purely in terms of physical might have a bit of a problem with that, because they usually want people to just return to what they think men and women should be. So just be aware that that's the consequence. The diversity of human beings exists. Transgender people exist. Get over it. So I just felt like I wanted to share those thoughts, ideas and opinions with you. Thanks for watching.